Hello, John here, and welcome to another of my Toon Boom Harmony tutorial videos. Hopefully my microphone is recording what I'm saying today, obviously because last time unfortunately it didn't, so I had to dub over the whole video, which is very annoying, and I apologise once again for that. So hopefully this is working this time. This series is called Basics, and I'm taking new users of Toon Boom Harmony from the first time they open the software right through to creating their first animation. And in this animation, I'm doing Batman and running and rappelling up the side of a building. I mean, in the last video, I did the run cycle for Batman. And today I'll be carrying on with the animation, getting him to run all the way through this alleyway and then rappelling up this building and landing on the top. So I think we'll crack straight on today. Or first of all, if you haven't got a copy of Harmony, do click in the link below in the description and go and get your free trial. I think it's 21 days long and completely free from the Toon Boom website. So right, let's get going. So let's just show you a few things that I've changed since the last video. So first of all, you'll notice that the hand in the background here I've changed. It did look like this, but what I did was I created a second hand by going onto the duplicate drawing layer and then just using the paintbrush tool in the drawing window, I changed it to be the other way around. Quite simple. And so now that looks like it should do. And also I did actually animate the run cycle cycling over and over and over again and putting the keyframes in, but because I hadn't recorded that bit properly, I thought I'd start again in this video and show you how to do that. So hopefully it will all make sense today. So we've got Batman doing those first two steps, and now obviously what we want to do is we want that to continue all the way along this alleyway, right up to this light here, or to roughly about here-ish. But obviously if we just copy and paste these frames, what he'll do is he'll jump back every time to the start position, and we don't want that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those keyframes, not the first one because that's just him standing still. Take the first keyframe of the run cycle and the last one. I'm going to copy that and then paste those along, and you'll see what I mean. So we'll do 4 of those. So as you'll see, he'll jump back to the start position. Obviously we don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to extend the background a second. So click on the last frame and click F5. That extends the background, and the same for Batman. So the easiest way to stop it from happening is to click on the master peg of Batman and then create a new peg, and I'm just going to name that Batman Move, or for movement peg. So now we've got a master peg on top of our master peg basically. But this one is going to be for only moving the character for run cycles basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and find the last keyframe before he starts to jump back, which should be that one. And I'm going to go onto the new movement keyframe and click F6 on that keyframe. Let me zoom in a little bit on that one. So then you'll see that in those two frames he zooms all the way back to the start. So I'm going to create another keyframe on that keyframe, and now we've got 2. And I'm going to turn on my onion skin, which is the little one with the red discs at the bottom there, and you'll see how fast he zooms back. I'm simply going to take him and drag him to where he should land. So going by that last red onion skin, you can see where he is in the air, and he's going to land on the floor about there. So now, if we zoom out a little bit, the cycle should hopefully continue on down the alleyway. And it's as simple as that, doing it one time per cycle. Let's have a little check. Yeah, there we go. Right, so I'm going to go along again. That's the one it changes. So I want to click F6 and then F6 on the next keyframe. And again, turn on my onion skin and just go along and put him in position. Turn it off and give him a little test. So he continues running. How far are we away? So I reckon Where's Batman gone? Batman, come back. He disappears for a frame. Let's just sort that out. Oh, that's weird. Where has Batman gone? Where has Batman gone? Ah, there we go. Right. Randomly, there's a frame missing, so we'll just put that frame back in. Oh dear. Every single layer is missing the frame. Ugh. Oh dear. Why is that then? Right, I'm going to just fix this by putting the frames back in, which will take a little while. I've got so many bits to put back in, and I'll come back, so just bear with me. Okay, so I think I've solved the problem. So now Batman doesn't have a random frame where he disappears, so that's a good start. So let's find our next one that we need to do, which I think it was that one there. So F6 on that to create a new keyframe. Go on to the next frame and click F6. Turn on our onion skin and go along. Our line has disappeared, so I'm just going to go in and extend that as well by going to the end on the line layer and clicking F5. And now we'll be able to see that that works well. And I think this is the step that he's going to pull out his rappel gun. Obviously, he's getting to the end of the alleyway here, so I want him to pull it out probably a step before he gets to the wall, pull the trigger, and then obviously fly off into the air. So he probably will do it here, I reckon. So we won't need it any more than that. So that's where he'll rappel there on that jump. So if I just turn this off a second there. So on this jump step here, that's where he's going to disappear off up into the top of the building. So that's where we can work on. So that part of the animation is done. So always save. So I don't, in this version, definitely Toon Boom doesn't have an auto save. So if it crashes, you will lose your work. So always try and Control S, as I do quite regularly, to make sure that if it does crash, which doesn't happen very often, but it's very annoying if you've done half an hour or an hour's work and it crashes. So definitely auto save or save. So Batman is now running along. So we probably want him to pull out his rappel gun as that arm swings behind here. So let me zoom in a bit. So as this arm is swinging behind, the idea is it's going to grab his rappel gun from where you can't see it and pull it out on that keyframe. So here he'll be holding up his rappel gun, getting ready to fire it. And then as he jumps here, he will disappear into the sky as such. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all create the rappel gun. Now, obviously, I'm just thinking about it. I'm not actually planned this at all this time. Is obviously going to have the gun with the hook on the end, and then obviously there'll be a rope. So what I'm probably going to do is do them in 3 different sections, so 3 different layers. So there'll be the gun, a rope, and then the little hook on the end. So the hook can fire off, and the rope can follow. And we'll see how that goes. That's the kind of plan that I'm going to go with. So to do that, obviously the gun is going to be in his hand. So I'm going to create a new hand and then draw his hand holding the gun. So let's do that first. So I'm going to find a nice hand position to work from. So we want it to come through on this one here. So I'll just do it here for now. So same as the last time that I did when I did this one. I'm going to select the hand with the transform tool. Click on the duplicate button, duplicate drawing button. And in your library, you'll see you now have 3 drawings. So we have the that hand, the hand, and our duplicate. And now I'm going to go into the drawing layer and I'm going to put in the rappel gun. So what I think I'll do is I will just sketch it out first. So I'm going to use my blue colour and my pen and my sort of paintbrush tool. And first of all, I'm just going to draw in a simple kind of rappel gun. Nothing too fancy, because you won't really see it for very long whatsoever. So it doesn't have to be particularly brilliant. Let's have a think. That's the finger there, isn't it? So I'm probably going to need to do it here. Roughly something along this kind of line. Trying to put the finger, to make sure the finger actually fits in. So So something like that. I'm just kind of rushing this really. But that will do. I think something like that will be okay. So what I'm going to do now is just select all of that and just click on the flatten tool, which is this one under the tool properties. And then basically anything that's the same color, it will flatten. So it won't join the things that are different colors, but it will join anything that's the same blue that's connected up. It will join. So I'm just going to connect that up as well. And I'm just going to go over that now with our default black tool and just finish off the drawing. Right, and then what I'm going to do now is select the blue lines and just get rid of them all and just make sure that's a nice clean drawing, and then I will colour it in. Right, I just want to fix that slightly dodgy connection there. I'm just going to select those two, flatten them, and either using the contour editor just get rid of a couple of these lines just to make it a bit smoother. Okay, and then to colour it in, hang on a second, it's looking pretty ugly as well, so we'll just get rid of that. So yeah, I'm going to go to the tool properties and then click on the little mattress button, and that will make a little a line. Oh, 1 second. So on the color art layer, let's just get rid of the other hand color. And then go to the line art, press the mattress button, and then that gives us some strokes which we can color in. So I think I will obviously color the hand in the right color, and I'll probably just create a new, I'll use the suit color maybe. Let's give that a go. Okay, there we go. So he pulls out his repel gun, and what I'm going to do now is I probably need to create the hook on it, but obviously I want that to follow the gun for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create the hook on this hand. I'm going to go back into here again and just create the hook. I'm just going to make a slightly lighter grey for the hook. And I'm just going to colour it on this layer, select the colour, copy it and delete it, and then put it onto the colour art layer. So now we have the hook, and what I'm going to do is I will create another layer with the repel on it, so when it fires I will change it back to another hand. I'll explain it in a minute. But basically what we're going to do now is work out exactly when it needs to change. So we're going to highlight the hand, and then as it comes down there we're going to change it. So go to the library. Ooh. Go to the library, and on that hand we're going to change it to our one with the gun. So now it pulls out his gun, and then that hand for some reason jumps as well, so we'll change that. Okay. So now the hand changes at the right time. So the hand comes and grabs his gun, and now this is the one we're going to need to point it up. So we need to go into this hand, this arm now, and I'm just going to find that. So if you select what you want to find, and then you go to the timeline and press O, it will zoom down to where you want. So here's our arm. So I'm just going to collapse that back up, so we just have the arm there. And now I want this arm to swing up, and on roughly on about this keyframe here. Let me slow down a little bit. So I want this keyframe here to be here when his arm's stretched out, ready to fire the repel gun. So I'm going to take those and delete those keyframes for now, so we won't need those. So as his arm comes through, we want this frame here to be the extension frame. So what I'm going to do now is select that and then I'll change this arm now to be straight, or slightly straight, slightly bent, but obviously pointing up and moving his arm around, setting the keyframe. So I'm going to delete that keyframe and it'll add the tween in like so. So he runs, puts his arm up, and then we're going to have him fire and disappear on this jump here. So I think the gun should be slightly more pointed this way. And obviously this Batman's a lefty. He's using his left hand rather than his right hand. So a big cheer for anyone who's left-handed. Okay, so now his arm comes up and gets ready to shoot. So it's going to fire about here, I reckon. So we're going to, and then he'll disappear. So he's going to disappear on this frame here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this first of all, go to the movement, do a new keyframe there, and then he's going to disappear off up this way, out of the screen. So I'm going to select him and drag him off. And I'm just putting that in the place so that get it all set up. I think we should probably put that frame there actually. So I'm not quite happy with the way the Batman moves. He's not moving straight. So I'm going to select that keyframe there and then go to View, Show, Controls. And you'll see here that that is the line there. So I'm not quite happy with that. It seems a bit dull, really. So I'm just going to move him over this way a bit more. Right, okay, so now we're going to just add a few different keyframes. So I'm going to turn his cape round. So obviously that should be facing down. And I'm going to have his legs move, point down as well. Oh, hello. Point down as well, and his feet. And I'm going to reset his legs. To reset a deformer, you click on the point you want to reset, and then you have this on the deformer toolbar. This one is called Reset Current Keyframe, and it will reset back to its original position. So now he jumps and flies up into the air. And again, we need to do his arm as well. So this arm, I'll do that again. So you highlight the deformer, make sure you view it, and then click on the different points you want to reset. Click on the reset button, and then he will fly up. And it'll reset them to make the way you want them to look. So again, I'm just going to go in and we're fine where the keyframe, the cape is, and I'm just going to get rid of that middle keyframe, just so that there's a natural. Oh, wrong one. That one there. So gun comes out, fires it nowish, and then flies. Yes, so he's going to fire it as he lands, and there. That's where the gun's going to fire. So let's just do the next hand. So I'm going to go in, select the hand. I'm going to create a duplicate drawing, so that'll be number 4. I'm going to go into that and get rid of the hook from the rappel gun. So that's him firing the gun, and I'm going to have a separate layer from the rappel firing upwards, and he'll obviously then disappear. Actually, I need to do the arm as well. Let's just find the arm. So I'm not really with it today. I'm a little bit all over the place. I apologise. I'm going through quite a bit at the moment on a personal level, so I've not been able to do videos, and I'm not really with it at all. I don't want to go into the details particularly, but just bear with me over these next few weeks and months because I'm still getting through stuff at the moment. But anyway, let's find out where the arm is. Okay. So here goes the arm. Bang. Off he goes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to this hand just for a second, and I'm going to go to the drawing layer. I'm going to select just the hook part of the rappel gun, copy it, and then above Batman I'm going to create a new layer by going to the plus drawing. I'm going to call that hook, and then I'm going to, on that frame where it disappears, so which is that one there, I'm going to click on the frame on that hook layer and paste that in, which has popped it. Where is it? I will find it in a minute. Let's go to the drawing layer. Here it is anyway. So I'm going to just finish off the drawing. So I think I drew with this one by accident. Just going to make it look finished. Using the tool properties, add the color on the color art layer, which I think was a special color hook. And then I'm going to go to my peg, that hook layer, and add a peg to it. Now I've got to find it. Oh, here it is down here, look. So I'm going to select the transform tool on the peg layer and just go to the rotate tool and make sure that that is central in there. And I'm going to then put it in position. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for it to be slightly further away from the gun, like it's been fired. So the first keyframe is going to be not exactly the same position. It's going to be slightly higher. So something around there, I reckon. So now I'm going to extend all these out again. So I'm going to go up to about 150 now. Extend all these frames out. And Batman. And the background. Okay. So here it goes. So it's going along. Bang, off it goes. So this is going to go really fast, obviously, because it is a gun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it about here. I'm going to take that and I'm going to just fly it up into the sky, because obviously it will go super fast. You'll hardly even see it. Like I did, it's caught hold of it in a couple of seconds. Bang! Off he goes, and he follows it up. So I'm probably going to put it over. Let's aim it for that edge of the building, so about there. And now all I need to do is add a little tiny bit of rope, because as you'll see, obviously there should be something to pull him up. So again, I'm going to go onto here, above Batman, I'm going to create a new drawing, and I'm going to call that rope, and go add, and then close that. And what I think I will do is I'll just do a line. So I'm going to use the line tool, and then on this frame I'm going to create a Actually, let's just use black. I think we'll use black, and I'll draw a line in between those two, and I'll make that really fat. So go to the drawing tool, select the line, and then on this pencil, on the tool properties, pencil selection, maximum size, we'll make it really fat. So something around, this is 40, let's make it 45, make it nice and equal. So now I've got a nice big fat rope. And then, again, I'm just going to extend that out a little bit. I won't need it very long. So what I'm going to do now is create a peg for that. And then again, put the rotation point at the bottom of where the gun is. Okay, so now we can start animating it. So actually, I'm not happy with the way that looks at the moment. Let's just change that. Okay. So I'm basically going to create lots of individual keyframes just for a minute. And we're going to move this along. And stretch it out. Again, it's going to go so fast you aren't going to really see it. So what I'm just focusing on is making sure that. Ooh, that's going a bit weird. There we go. It looks okay in the picture. But you aren't going to see it. So as long as it is enough there just to cover it, that'll be fine. Again, that'll be off the screen, so I'm not going to be too worried about joining it up. As long as it's in the right direction, that's all I really care about at this point. I reckon it'll be off screen then. Okay, so let's just have a little look from distance just to see what we think. So he's going to be down here somewhere. Hopefully you can see this enough. If I zoom in or zoom out this far, he runs along, pulls out his gun, and off he goes. I think what I quite like to do is put a bit of an arm action, like as he fires it, his wrist moves a bit, otherwise it looks a bit like there's nothing happening. So I'm going to add a little bit of movement on his hands. As he fires it, it's going to fire back. So on this frame here, I'm going to do quite an extreme move on the hand, but then it's going to come straight back again. So it's there. So I'm going to add a keyframe there. That's the one that's going to go bang, and that's going to go back up again. So I need to go back in now and just change these. But you can drag the pivot point around on a temporary basis. that'll be the same. So hopefully now. What I think I want to do with Batman as well is give him a little bit of a. He's a bit straight as he fires and goes. I think he should just swing slightly. So again, I'm just going to take his movement controller, kind of, and then you can see this is him here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go along about here and just drag that point. Sorry, drag him a little bit, and you'll see that line bend. So now he'll fly up a bit more on an angle. It'd be quite good to have, particularly here, that actually he comes a bit flatter. Okay, so I think I'm kind of happy with that for now. Sip of coffee. What I think I'll do is, just to kind of get this part of the animation done, I'm going to add the camera move in now, so you can see what it's going to look like, roughly this section will look like. So let me just go to my view, show, hide all controls. That line will disappear. And we'll go back to the first frame and we'll just add the camera. So at the moment the camera is up here. So obviously we want it down here where Batman is. I'm just going to turn on the front of the alleyway as well. So we get that as well, just for now. Save that. And then up here in my window, and this is my tool properties, I've got my top and side windows. If you haven't got those, again, just go to your plus button up there and then choose top and side. And I'm going to move the camera around with these. So let's start with the top. Now obviously the yellow triangle, or the triangle, which you can highlight and it goes yellow, is the camera. Obviously where it joins together, the point is where the camera is, and obviously it's looking out from there. So we want it all the way over here. So I'm going to literally drag it along. You'll see the camera moving. So we want it all the way over here somewhere. And then the side view, I'm going to put it down. And I'm going to push it in towards Batman a bit as well. So it's somewhere around there. Now again, when you're setting up the camera like this, the best thing to do is to turn the frame on, which is on this line of tools here at the top. Is this third one along, is the camera mask. So now we can see exactly what the camera is going to export for us. Now I like these bins. I want a bit more of those bins. So I'm just going to select that and just drag that back a bit. Something around there. So as Batman runs now, we obviously need to add in some movement. So let's just see where he starts. So I'm going to start with the keyframe there first. And he's going to run along. So let's turn off the frame. Find where he stops. Or where he fires his gun. Which is there. So I want to add a keyframe there. And then basically on the top window, I'm going to drag the camera along, holding shift until Batman is in the center of the camera again. So now you'll see that the camera is tracking him. So as he runs, the camera's tracking him along. And what I really want is that to continue. So I think it is off the screen, which is about here. I'm going to continue at once. So I'm going to drag that keyframe along and then just make it come all the way across. Like he's sort of surprised the camera and jumped out of the shot by surprise. So now we can turn our frame on. We can zoom into the camera and show you that part of the animation. So I'm going to save it, start it on the first proper frame, and off we go. So obviously Batman is trailing a little bit towards the left-hand side for my liking. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start by moving the camera back a bit. And see if he can hold up with the pace a bit more. So what I think I will do is I'd like him to be more central here. So I'm going to just add a keyframe and make him a bit more central. And then see, it zooms off a bit too much at the end there. So what I'm going to do is drag that back a bit. Still a bit quick. So let's just get rid of that keyframe and just drag that along a bit. So the camera kind of is slowing down there. And then we'll turn our line off and see how we're going. Obviously you've got to sort that line out. The rope line disappears on that frame there. It looks terrible. Let's just go in and do that. But obviously we can't really see it here, so I'm just going to, it's not hugely important where it comes from, as long as it is in the right place. I'm not completely happy with it. My computer's jumping a bit as well when I'm watching it, which doesn't help, so you can't quite see the full effect. I think what I might do is actually have him pull out the gun a step earlier. So rather than doing it on this frame, I think what I might do, so is not that one, but maybe on this one, like he's grabbed it. So let's just do that. I think it's a bit too quick between the transitions, so he's gonna, that's not the right frame to do it on. There. And then let's just go into the arm. Right. So it's just done that extra step now, so that it's like it's on camera a bit longer. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I think that's okay. So I think, and another thing is, I think when the gap between him firing it and it pulling him is also too quick. So for example, he fires it here, and it's only 2 or 3 frames before it starts to make any effect on his body. And obviously, if it's going up the top of a building, it's probably going to be at least 3 seconds or something, 4 seconds maybe, for it to really. So it should probably fire it, and it should happen a bit. So what I might do, it happen a bit later. So what I might do is get him to actually bring it up here and fire it on this one. So bring this all back to here. So he fires it as it gets to there. He fires it, which will mean I've got to move all this, but it'll go, and then it will pull him. It'll add a little bit more gap in between the 2 motions. So up, bang, another step, hooks on, and as it hooks, off he goes. So I'm just going to rearrange that animation there, and then I think we'll finish for today. Okay, so I think that's enough for today. I've been going for almost an hour, so I will leave it there for now, and we'll come back to it another day. But here is the sort of final animation of that bit. I'm going to go back in later and add a few eye blinks and a kind of grrr mouth shape as he goes to fire it. But then we're going to basic run, and the repel is now done. So I'll go in and add a few extra bits and bobs later just to finish it off. But for now, that's not too bad. So just to explain the next part of the animation. Oh, it's still going. One more time then. So what's going to happen is he's going to rappel up, and the camera's then going to zoom up to the top of the hotel here, which all seems to have got a bit confused with itself, but I'll sort that out. And the camera will zoom up and land here, and Batman will just land on top of the building without his gun anymore. And then he'll get up and he'll run along under the hotel light and stop here by this bat signal. Like I said, I've got a shot of the background which has all gone a bit squiffy. But that's the gist for the next animation. So in the next part, which will probably be the final part of the animation, he will land on this building here and run along and stop by the bat signal. So watch out for that one very soon. I will try and do it as soon as I can, but I can't promise anything at this moment. So please bear with me. So thanks for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video and it's been helpful and you've picked up some tips and tricks. If you want to watch one of my previous videos, please click on one of the buttons above me there. And of course, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the red button. And of course, if you have any questions, please do leave comments below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. And I'll be back hopefully very shortly with the next part of this animation. Okay, so thanks for watching and bye for now.